All right, we have some news that just came through, automotive news that lets us know that car dealers are in big time trouble right now and they're hurting. And this is something that we knew anyway, but we wanted to see some numbers come through the system to show that. I've got some anecdotal things that I'm seeing at the auction that I want to share with you. And also, we've been able to buy some cars the last few days, and I'm going to share with you what we bought, what we paid for them, and what we are planning to sell them for. I'm a used car dealer, so I can give you this kind of information in real time when I'm seeing the car market, whether it's going up, whether it's going down. If the repo is going through the system, I'm able to share with you this information because I'm seeing it firsthand at these auctions. But the news that I want to talk about is that we just got some sales numbers from Dodge and Ram showing that their sales are down about 10%. And this is interesting because when we're talking about these sales, it's not a sale to a customer. And this is why it affects dealers so much, is that these are sales that these manufacturers are making straight to the dealerships. So we know that right now that production is not a problem. See, we had decreases in sales over the last few years. I mean, we know what happened with supply chains, everything like that. Production was behind, and that led to fewer vehicles being pushed out to a lot of these dealers, causing sales volumes to go down. But right now, we know that there's no production issues. There are no supply chain issues that these manufacturers are dealing with. They can pump out as many cars right now as they did last year, if not more vehicles right now than what they were last year. So what we know these sell decreases mean is that these dealerships aren't able to take as many vehicles as these manufacturers are wanting to pump out. That means they're turning down allocations, and that's what we're seeing from Dodge and Ram right now. Stellantis, they're having a big problem because you can go all over the country right now looking at these Stellantis dealerships, and you know that there's trucks. There are trucks sitting everywhere. There are Dodge Chargers, Dodge Challengers sitting everywhere. And we're just about a year and a half, 2 years removed from not being able to find a Challenger, a Charger without a dealer markup, without a dealer add-on. And now you can go and you can buy them for under invoice. Under invoice is under what the dealership is paying for them. And you can find that at a lot of places because these the floor plans that these dealerships are having to pay, because the amount of inventory is so high on their lot and because demand is so low, that they're not moving these cars. And now let's go back. Let's go to the used car side of things. What I'm seeing right now happen at a lot of these used car dealerships is a factor of hurting both used car dealers and new car dealers. But what we're seeing is that we're having fewer cars come through auction. And how we get our cars is from new car dealer trade-ins. So the fewer cars that are auctioned means that the fewer trade-ins that these new car dealers are getting, meaning the fewer vehicles that they're actually selling. So me seeing that at auction right now is showing me that these new car dealers are not selling their cars. And it's not just Stellantis. The cars that I'm buying at these dealer auctions, they come from Toyota dealers, they come from Ford dealers, they come from GM dealers, they come from Nissan, Honda. All of the franchise dealers are sending their cars to these auctions that I'm going to, and the volumes are down right now, and it's because they're not moving vehicles and they're not getting trade-ins. So this is something that we're going to be watching going forward. And then I want to talk a little bit about the used car side of things. The used car dealers, what we've been seeing a lot more of is independent dealers. The amount of vehicles that independent dealers are going up, that the ones that they're sending to auctions going up. And that seems kind of counterintuitive to say that, okay, new car dealers aren't sending cars to auction, but a lot of these independent dealers are sending cars to auction. But the reason why the independent dealers would be more apt to send their cars to auction is because they're not selling them. So just to give you the example, new car dealers not selling means that they're not sending more cars to auction, but independent car dealers not selling means they're going to send more cars to auction. And I'll tell you why. It's because that these independent car dealers, these small used cars dealers, they are on floor plans and they have to be able to dump a lot of these cars that they're not selling so they don't get eat up with their interest that they're paying. So if they get into a situation where they have they have cars sitting on their lot 60, 90 days and they're not able to turn them. They have to make payments that they probably don't have the money for to begin with. And that's why you will see them start trying to raise some capital. And the easiest way for a used car dealer to raise some capital is by sending a car straight to auction. And then they can get instant cash for it, because once they sell that car at the auction company that day or the next day will literally write them a check. They'll cut them a check that day to be able to get it to that used car dealer so they can pay it off to their floor plan company. Another thing that I'm seeing from these independent used car dealers, I'm seeing a lot of independent cars that show up with stickers like they were presented to be sold on the independent dealer lot. They'll have the year on it. I usually don't see prices. It's a frustrating thing about the car market, but you rarely see used car dealers actually post their prices on their used cars. So you don't really see that, but you'll see it says sell, closeout, whatever their marketing stickers are. You'll see them pop up on these cars at auction. And that tells me that they were trying to sell these cars on their lot. They had them lot ready and ready to move through the auction. I mean, through their car lot. And they couldn't sell them for whatever reason. They couldn't sell them, whether the demand's dried up, whether they're trying to sell them for too much, whether something was wrong with them. But they thought that car was good enough to sell at their dealership. And it turns out they couldn't move it. So in that case, they have to actually dump it through auction so they can move it quickly and be able to pay their floor plans. But just want to go through some of the cars that we've been able to buy. It's really weird right now in this car market that we're able to buy cars right now. It's never really been able to work out this way for us. We're still just maybe 2 weeks removed from tax time being a big thing, spring selling season being a big thing for us. And typically it takes about a month and a half before we're able to go in and buy, but we've been able to buy. Usually I show a lot of videos of our lots being empty this time of year. And right now we're up to another row of cars that we can sell. But I'll just go through a few that we bought, and just keep in mind all these prices that I'm telling you. We're going to have buyer fees on top of that. I'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to have our inspections if we have to fix anything. So just keep that in mind when I'm saying what we think we're going to price it for, but that's barring any kind of big not inspection, but big repair or anything like that. But we bought a 2003 Chevy Malibu, and we paid $1,600 for it. So it'll be probably a $3,000 car after our fees and everything. A 2011 Hyundai Sonata. We paid $2,400 for it. We got a 2013 Chevy Malibu. We buy a lot of Malibus. We like them. And we paid $2,300 for it. It will be probably $3,500. If it's super nice, $4,000. There's a 2005 4Runner we bought. We typically aren't able to buy 4Runners in our price range. Our price range that we like to stay in to sell is $5,000 and under. And usually 4Runners, no matter what the miles are, no matter what the condition, we usually can't buy them cheap enough to be able to resell them for that under $5,000 range. But every once in a while, Alex will find a good deal. Alex, my mechanic, he buys a lot of cars for us. But he bought a 2005 Toyota 4Runner, and he only paid $2,400 for it. We're going to have a $285 buyer fee on top of that. So we got $2,685 in it. And we'll probably be able to sell it pretty quickly for $4,000 after it's cleaned up, as long as we don't have to do any work to it, which if it's a 4Runner that went that cheaply that we were able to buy it, we've probably got to do something to it, probably a wheel bearing. There's going to be something, O2 sensors, something is we're going to have to fix on that 4Runner. I would assume it's not going to be perfect. So that might bring our price up a little bit if we have to put some significant money into it. But if we don't, hopefully we don't, then that's about the range we'll be in. We bought a 2006 Acura TL, and we paid $2,600 for it. We bought a 2007 Dodge Nitro. They're not my favorite, but we sell them well. And we paid $2,100 for it, so not that much, and we'll probably sell it for like $3,500. A 2008 Toyota Avalon. I love Toyotas, love Avalons, love Camrys, love Corollas, love 4Runners, love Highlanders, RAV4s, anything Toyota we can get our hands on, we try to buy them. We paid $2,200 for that. So I'm We'll have to look at that one. I'm surprised that one was so cheap. So I would assume we got to fix something on that one too. But $2,200, we got about 25 in it after fees. If it's just ready to go, then it'll be $3,500 to $4,000. But my assumption is that we'll have to fix something on that. And we bought a 2011 Hyundai Sonata and paid $2,700 for it. So it'll probably be a $4,000 to $4,500 car on that. So yeah, I'm sure we have some questions coming through the chat. My wife is here to pick some out. So let's go, baby. What you got for me?
Let's see. What would be the better buy? A lightly used 2021, 2022 F-150 XLT or the new 24?
Right now, definitely the used one, because the new dealers, especially on the Ford side, what we're seeing is that all this incentives that we're really wanting to see come through the market, there are some incentives coming through, there are some special interest rates coming through, but you're not seeing as many as what the market is telling us there should be. And what I'm saying by that is, just like we're looking at these Stellantis numbers, the dealerships, they're not selling very many vehicles. I'm telling you that from the auctions that we're going to. So they really need more incentives coming from these manufacturers. I've talked to Nissan, GM, Chevy, GM, and they need more help from these manufacturers, and it's coming. So I would not be a buyer of a new car. It doesn't matter what the brand, even Toyota. I would be waiting on any new vehicle right now, because more incentives are coming. They have to do something to help these dealerships move the metal. So between that and a used one, I'm going for the used one. You're going to save some money. You're going to already let someone else have paid that ridiculous depreciation that happens in that first year of the vehicle. Once you sign your name on a brand new vehicle, that car, that truck, whatever you buy, it loses 20% of its value instantly, and then about 10% every year after that. And we know that because there's been some crazy times in the last couple of years where people were paying markups, add-ons, adjustments, whatever they were paying, that's normal 20% that they get a haircut as soon as they sign it. It's much, much, much greater than that 20% over the last couple of years, because of how inflated the prices have been and how far over the actual value of the vehicle that these consumers have paid. So yeah, let somebody else pay that depreciation in the first couple of years and go. And if you want something newer, then yeah, buy something that's a couple of years older, and you'll be able to get a better deal on that. Two, the dealerships that are selling these, they have more room to move in the used vehicles because they're taking a lot of them in as trades, and people just get absolutely destroyed on their trade-ins. So they a lot of these franchise dealers, they don't have a ton of room to move on these new vehicles because of how much they had to pay to the manufacturer to get them. There's not a ton of margin in a lot of these vehicles. Now, over the last few years, there's been a ton of margin because they've added on these extra products. They've added on these extra market adjustments. But if they're just selling straight MSRP, 10%, 20% back of MSRP, close to invoice, there's not a lot of margin in new cars. But you have a ton of margin right now in the used vehicles, so they're going to be more negotiable or be able to move a lot more on these used vehicles than they can on the new vehicle. So I would push you to that. But no matter what, if you don't have to buy right now, I would want you to wait. Car market's bad. It's getting worse. We're seeing it in the numbers, and prices will be better 6 months from now than they are right now. And the longer that you can wait, the better price you're going to get. But I understand there's some people out there want to, whatever word you want to use, buy right now. And if you are in that camp, then you can do your homework, but you can probably find a dealership out there that's hurting a little bit worse than another dealership, and they'll be able to give you a good deal. So just make sure you shop around. All right, next question.
After you price your vehicles, do you add on the fees that you see at many franchise dealers?
Nope, we have zero fees. So when you come to my dealership, if I have a car out there that's $3,000 on our lot, you're going to pay us that $3,000, and you're going to pay the government here in North Carolina. You'll have sales tax, you'll have a registration fee,
Tag.
title fee, tag, and you'll have to buy your tag. So all of that, I think it's like $130 or whatever extra. But we're not charging you that $130. That $130 is going straight to North Carolina for your registration. So all I get on a car that's marked as $3,000 out on my lot is exactly $3,000, and that's it, not a penny more. All right, next question.
Do you ever get trucks to sell on your lot? I know trucks usually don't price for $5,000 and under.
Yeah, it's very rare that we're able to find trucks that we can sell for that $5,000 and under price point. We do every once in a while find them. We had about a week and a half ago, we had a F-150 that we were able to sell. I think we sold it for, it was either $3,500 or $4,000. We were just able to buy it ridiculously cheap. When we find them like that, we're going and looking at trucks just about every time we go to these auctions. But it's very rare for us to find a truck that we can sell for $5,000 or under. And if it is going to be in that range that we can sell it, it's usually just beat to death. Crazy high mileage, rusty, and we're not going to buy that truck no matter how cheap it is. So it's very rare that we can find a truck that's in that sweet spot for us where the quality is okay enough and the price is still low enough for us to be able to buy it to sell it to our kind of consumer. All right, next question.
At the auction, do you pay a title and documents type of fees like a buyer would pay at a dealer?
No, we don't, but I think it's very similar to what like a doc fee that a consumer would pay to a dealership. We pay an auction fee. It's just a buyer's fee, and it's just one fee, and it's everything that we're paying for to be at that auction, for the auction to take care of our paperwork. It's all wrapped up in that one fee. And a lot of fees are really high going through the auctions, but I understand it. It costs a lot of money to do business, and they are a big operation. So you'll have a lot of dealers complain about buyer fees, but I get it. I'm not worried about the buyer fees we have to pay. Some auctions are way higher than others, and sometimes you can find auctions that I think do stretch the fees out maybe a little bit too much. But overall, most auctions, at least most of the ones that we go to, the fees seem reasonable to me. One of the cars that we bought, that 4Runner, 2005 Toyota 4Runner, we paid $2,400 for it. The auction fee on it's $285. It seems high, but the auctions, they take care of a lot of the stuff, so we don't have to deal with it. They're constantly calling these franchise dealers to try to get us titles. If there's we run into paperwork mistakes all the time with these cars that we buy, and we don't have to go straight to the franchise dealers to say, okay, you didn't get us a POA that we needed, or the signature's wrong, or the date wasn't correctly put somewhere. Whatever it is, we have to get new paperwork issued to us if there's any kind of problems on the paperwork that we get from these franchise dealers. And we don't have to deal with that. We call the auction, say, hey, this was filled out incorrectly, or we need this paper that was not in there. And then the auction will reach out to the franchise dealer and go back and forth with them, because dealing with title clerks at the franchise dealer, it's a nightmare. I don't know if it's because they deal with so many vehicles, but paperwork just gets lost all the time, it seems like, and it's a nightmare to have to deal with some of these franchise dealers. We've had to before if some auction companies can't get something done, and it takes me going to the actual dealership and waiting there and be like, okay, I need this paperwork and I need it today, and I'm fine waiting however long I need to, but I'm literally going to wait right here in this lobby until you're able to get me this sheet that I need. And it's not like you have to call a customer. I just need your title clerk to fill out this paper, and I'll literally be standing right here just waiting on it. Whatever you need. And where's your Coke machine? Because I'm going to get a drink, because it's going to take a while. I don't know why it takes forever to get a lot of this. I'm rambling at this point. This is a frustration that I have to deal with all the time coming from these franchise dealers. paperwork, there's always issues, and we pay this fee. We pay this fee over here to this auction company, so they get to deal with a majority of the problems, and I don't have to, and I will gladly pay that fee. Some of them are higher than others. Yes, I don't like them to be crazy high, but I understand having a fee and having to pay it.
One
Next
thing I
question.
wanted to add on that really
Yep.
quick, as far as title and documents go, there aren't as many documents because we don't register the vehicle to us. There are dealer reassignment things. So it's a very different style of paperwork when it's wholesale versus retail. So that's part of the reason the fees are different. But man, I'd rather have the retail issues than the wholesale because they get messy.
Yeah, I would guess, let's see here, how many, bill of sale, as is, we have, dealer transfer, we have title application, we have, um, damage disclosure, and we have a power of attorney, we have, and there's one other one I'm forgetting, but
Dual
there's
residency sometimes. There's some other stuff
sometimes
that's sometimes.
on average, there's seven papers that we have to fill out when we're selling a car to a consumer. And when I am getting paperwork from an auction, I get two. I get a bill of sale and I get a dealer reassignment that just comes with the title that's already there. And the dealer reassignment is saying that, okay, this dealer is transferring this car to my dealership. And that's all we got to have. And it's got to be notarized. So they'll have notaries in there. So a lot fewer, less amounts of paperwork that we have to deal with when we're buying cars from auction, but still, I don't have to deal with any of it. But I want to thank all you guys for jumping in this live stream with us, and I hope you have a great day. And remember to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, do all the things.